Oh, the adjunct life. You've turned in your spring semester grades, you've ordered your textbooks for your fall course, and finally you get to kick back, relax, and do what you've always hoped to do, and that is research. Could there be any better life than the academic calendar and the life of an adjunct? It's time to relax, do some research, and recharge your life. It's just a time to breathe, right? Wrong. For the great majority who teach in higher education as adjuncts, providing over 70% of classroom instruction these days in colleges and universities throughout the world, well, summer means poverty. It means the small little check that came in every month for the semester. About $2,500 a semester is the average pay. That means you're getting a check about every month for about $600. Well, they stop. While all your allies, all your tenure track professors who are advocating for better pay for you are sitting around cashing checks and doing that research that all of us long to do over the summer months.
I guess he's reconstituted.
Rehabilitated.
Gesundheit.
Well, we need help. Not the kind of help that waiting on an administrator or our tenured allies is ever going to accomplish for us when they finally wake up one day and realize how valuable we are and how much money we should be making. No, we need the kind of help that we are in charge of. It's time to take charge of your future if you're living the adjunct life today. So here are 3 ways you can start to make your summers pay off for you, to create some runway, give you a future that you actually have some control over. Hello, I'm James Callahan, and this is the Do-Over Show, and I've spent more than 20 years as an adjunct after serving for about a handful of years as a tenure track professor. And since that time, I've depended on the adjunct life for my primary living and then transitioned to a real job where I use adjunct teaching as a way of, expressing what I really love in life, and that is the classroom and higher education. And in my years of conversations with dozens and dozens and dozens of other adjuncts, there are certain things that I've learned, and I'd like to share with you 3 basic ideas that can help you get a handle on your life as an adjunct today. And let's admit, the summertime, that summer break between the spring and fall semesters, that's the best of times and the worst of times. The worst of times, because there are no more paychecks, even those little ones that dribble in every semester. But it's the best of times in that it gives us an opportunity, a reality check, to make sense of our life as an adjunct and to start to add things that we actually have some control over rather than waiting for higher education to recognize our worth. Now, if you're in this boat as an adjunct, you're facing summer without paychecks, you're probably already working that summer job. Wearing the cool colored t-shirt, working for the park district, hoping that a 17-year-old shows up for their shift. Yeah, we've all been there and done that. So these 3 ideas are not a substitute for working. In fact, they involve maybe finding different and better work to get it done. But these 3 ideas are doable. These 3 things are things that you and I can do during the summer months to give ourselves a better future. So first, let's start with investing in you. And when most of us hear that, we think, I finally get to do the research that I've been putting off and hoping to do. And quite frankly, that's one of the main reasons why you're so poor. You're always doing research, always preparing, over-preparing, re-preparing for those classes that you're teaching, choosing a new textbook, making over your notes for a class, when a repeat class is the key to a successful life as an adjunct. But we say, I've got to update my syllabus. I've got to do better by the students. I've got to do better by me. And those are all the reasons why you are poorer today. That's one of the easiest ways we can change what it is that we're doing to ourselves and making ourselves poorer. Do you know that adding just 1 hour of extra preparation each week during a semester reduces our pay as adjuncts during that semester by as much as 20 to 30% per hour? Yes, that's what we do to ourselves when we decide that we have to over-prepare for a course. It's time to get over our insecurity and realize that we're already presenting material in a way that is probably not only meeting but exceeding expectations. We're trying to over-demonstrate, address our own insecurities, and try to impress the wrong people. I've done a reality check on what the numbers are to survive in the adjunct life and how we make ourselves poorer with our insecurities. And if you want to find out how you can actually tackle this insecurity, take a look at that video here. So here's the first step. Stop underpaying yourself by spending too much time and too much effort doing things that you've already done really well. And instead, start producing something of value to your primary audience. Now, who is your primary audience? It's the students in the classroom. Most adjuncts are paid to teach, not to do research. But we spend so much time obsessing about, well, I have to study more, I have to research more. There are 4 new books in my field. Yes, that's all fun, but that's on us. What actually helps our students in the classroom is that we become better teachers, more invested in making their experience in the classroom more fruitful and beneficial for their actual value in life. So finding things that actually add value to others' lives, well, that means doing things like not only investing in your teaching skills, but becoming a consultant. Create a how-to course, write a book, but not for your academic peers or those people you hope will interview you for a tenure track job one day. Write a book for people who don't know what you do know, and stop trying to write a book to impress people who know as much or even more than what we know and get paid to sit around and do research about it. Second, it's confession and reality check time, and that is to realize that teaching as an adjunct is a job, a seasonal job, a temp job at that. It's like mowing lawns or snow removal. Yes, it's that kind of job. Get over yourself. Get over ourselves in this higher than, holier than thou idea of what an adjunct is. We are providing a service on a temporary basis in higher education because they can't figure out the mess of how it is that they want to conduct their business. But our business is taking advantage of our education and our passion for higher ed and pouring our lives into students and seeing value in their lives. And that means that most of us, as I said, will have a real job. We'll have a job that pays the bills, provides benefits, or we'll have a partner or spouse that does this and we'll be able to devote our time to it. If so, all of that's great. Good for you. But what we have is a job, a part-time job, a temp job. And today, it's never been easier to find a better job for more pay. Yes, there are, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, 11 million plus jobs open today. And there are less than half of that active job seekers, people in the market looking for jobs. Do the math. That's 2 to 1. There are 2 job openings for every person just out there wondering what they're going to do next. Here's the best advice we can hear in a long time. It's finally, that market is our market. It's time to get a new job. And did you know that switching jobs every 2 to 3 years over the work life that you have will actually earn you 20 to 30% more in income over your entire working life than someone who just finds a job and sticks it out and gets a 2% increase if they're lucky year over year? Yes, this is the time to find a new job. The kind of job that will give you some breathing room so that you'll be able to teach that course that you love and do the research that you love. Find a job that pays you more and you'll find more reward in working as an adjunct. So this summer, make it your job to find a new job and give up on teaching that Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. to 11:15 course. Let that be for somebody who actually gets paid to sit around and do research all 12 months of the year. And instead, teach a night course, teach a course on the weekends, teach a course online. Take advantage of the new virtual opportunities that we have. Oh, and by the way, don't record those courses because the university or college will own them and you'll be redundant. No, instead, get a real job, work a normal job, make better money, and teach when you are available. The third idea for what to do this summer, and that is to rearrange your expectations. Managing expectations is not always easy. And yes, there's some pain in it. But managing expectations includes this. A lot of people who work in the adjunct field, we're bitter. We're hopelessly hopeful when we're young and quickly turn into those bitter people realizing the numbers and how underpaid we are and how overexploited we are and how wrong it is. We all experience it. Bitterness is too normal. And you know what that makes us look like? It makes us look petty. And it makes us look, well, not as smart as we are for all the education that we have. Yes, it's horrible how overworked we are, how underpaid we are. And yes, for the minority, yes, you're a minority, who try to make a living teaching as an adjunct for your main source of income. You know, most people who work at adjuncts actually make a living doing something else, like intellectuals and educators have done throughout the history of intellect and education. And that is, we've had benefactors who have bankrolled our opportunities, writers who actually write and then teach writing as an adjunct, painters who paint and actually teach painting as an adjunct. Even someone in philosophy or ethics gets to work in a large corporation, especially an international corporation, in which they provide ethical training in the HR department or in marketing or in communications, where they actually get to do what they do for a living and then they teach part-time. I know somebody who teaches religious studies as an adjunct. Their full-time job is working with an international company, running sessions about how to deal with people who are from a different religious background, how to interact in the workplace. Yes, they actually help people live more professional, better quality lives by teaching religion for a business. And here are the numbers. It hasn't changed, it's only getting worse, and that is we're producing more and more PhDs in just about every field this year, this decade, than we did last year, last decade. We're not going to change that by complaining or whinging about it. What we can do is realize that this is a market that's forcing us in a different direction, forcing us to become who we really are. Let's admit it. We're entrepreneurs. We're independent contractors. We're the ones who are responsible for our own livelihood. And that's really at the heart of this third suggestion, and that is to embrace this opportunity of, taking advantage of the entrepreneur's life. Here's what higher ed looks like today. We count on our college or university to create work for us, to have buildings and classrooms and accredited degree programs and students, and we appear on the first day of class and poof, the seats are all filled with students who are well paying or well borrowing to be there. But we didn't make that happen. We didn't create it. You know who created it? The administrators and the bureaucracy that we complain about in higher education. An employee gets to hide behind the boss, hide behind the institution, and blame them when things don't go well. But an entrepreneur or an independent contractor, and that's what we are as adjuncts, we're actually responsible for our own fortunes. Now, if we're like the person who opens up the 16th coffee shop on a city block that has 15 coffee shops already, well, that failure is on us. That's the life of an entrepreneur. There's no one else to blame except ourselves. And an entrepreneur that goes to an oversaturated market and tries to do what everybody else is already doing when there's no increased need for it, well, they're smart enough to realize that that mistake, that's on them. So, what are we supposed to do? If our market is oversaturated, here's the first and most obvious move, and that is move. There are places in the world that actually need people with your education, your MFA, your MA, your PhD, your experience, your real life experience combined with your classroom experience. There are markets in which there are surplus PhDs, New York, Chicago. Yes, there are too many of us in these markets. But there are places in the United States and throughout the world that are desperate for somebody just like you. And if you're up to it, moving and demonstrating your value in a market that needs you, that's not oversaturated with terminal degrees, not oversaturated with people with teaching experience, not willing to make the move to a secondary or tertiary market, yes, if that's for you, then make the move. Or if you don't want to make the move because you want to stay close to family, you want to stay close to the neighborhood where you were raised or live now, fine. But realize what you're trading off. You're trading off the opportunity of market needs for your own comfort. And if that's the trade-off, then that's the monetary exchange we're making when we stay in a market where there are too many of us. So instead, here's an idea. Become an entrepreneur who writes, creates, shares, coaches, mentors, influences, all of that in higher ed that's supposed to create, add value, create competency. And here we give an opportunity to do the thing that we've always wanted to do, and that is to do the thing that we teach people to do. You know the old saw that made us crazy when we were in grad school? Those who can do, those who can't teach. Well, guess what? It's time we get over ourselves and we start to do the things that we are teaching. You know, whatever it is you're teaching or want to teach today, you can probably make a living doing that in the real world. That is, the world that's not just in higher education. Oh, one little caveat. I know a lot of people who work on the academic side of higher education that go over to the dark side and join the administrative side of higher education. And that is an opportunity as well. But here's the thing, not everyone in higher education is willing to hire somebody who has a PhD or research background, even great classroom experience, to work in the advancement office or work in the academic office. Yeah, not everyone's comfortable, and you have to find the right school that's willing to embrace that. And you have to be the person who willingly goes into that and says, you know what, I'm not trying to angle my way into a teaching job. I want to do the administrative side of higher education. And when you admit that up front, when you say, I've made this journey, I've made that turn, you'll find a lot more willingness among administrators to actually maybe include you in the business side of higher education. Maybe that's what you need, just to be around the higher ed campus, to be there when students are there, and the liveliness of a campus and the football games and all the things that you enjoy about higher ed life on campus. Maybe that's what you need. If so, that's a fourth idea, bonus idea. Hey, and thanks for being part of the Do-Over Show. Please, could you tap the like button? Because it really helps. And while you're down there, how about you subscribe and ring the notification bell so you don't miss the next episode. I'm so glad you found me, and I found you. Thanks.